Hello, my lovely, and welcome to episode 22 of the Prosperous Yogini podcast. And I do feel like saying this if you're watching on YouTube, to my small cupboard under the stairs. So if you do watch or listen to the podcast on YouTube and you're like, where are you, Amy? I am literally in this tiny cupboard under the stairs, which I've got set up as a sort of office, but it's kind of too small to work in. And I just used to have it as a place to dump all my yoga business stuff. And when I started doing this podcast, I realized that this little cupboard is the podcaster's dream. It's a small space. Just out of curiosity, if you're interested, like, how does Amy record her podcast? I use my Blue Yeti, my beloved, I love it, Blue Yeti mic, which I've actually started using teaching. Actually, it's such a good mic that just plugs into my Mac. Don't have to have anything attached to me, which I really love, and it works really well. Particularly I use it to when I'm teaching my live yin classes, and then I'm using my Mac. I'm filming on my beloved Logitech Brio webcam. So if those of you that are interested in creating online, teaching online, Logitech Brio webcam will change your life. And then you won't know this. I should do a behind the scenes shot, but behind my mic, behind my webcam, behind my Mac that I record the podcast onto, and I used to record it into something called Audacity. That was recording the audio. And then I used to film it using my phone. I've actually started to use Zoom. Zoom's great. It creates a video for me that's really super quick and easy to upload onto YouTube and separates the audio and is as good as using Audacity. And I'm all about how can I work smarter, not harder. And then behind all of my tech equipment are pillows. Literally pillows. It is what I would say a bit Heath Robinson over at the Prosperous Yogini podcast. But you know what? It works. But I just wanted to say that. I always think, like, if you watch me on YouTube and you're like, where is Amy doing this from? From the cupboard under the stairs. So we've got a little 2-part mini series this week and next week, which I'm very excited about because they are based on questions, comments that you guys have messaged me about. These comments have come in my Instagram DMs from yoga teachers who are listening to the podcast and are reaching out with either like some really positive stuff, how the podcast is helping you, and that fills my heart with joy. Also, a little question based on something you've heard from the podcast, or asking me to cover something in this podcast. And if that's you're like, oh, I wonder what Amy thinks about this, and this is going on in my business, I wonder what Amy thinks about this. Honestly, my darling, just ask away, because otherwise I'll rabbit on about what I think would help you. But nobody knows your business more than you. And if you've got something you'd like me to help with, just ask. So this week's topic is help, my classes are full. And I love this topic because you're like, I bet you can't, some of you who are perhaps finding the opposite, I bet you can't imagine this to be a problem. But what a great problem to have. First of all, help, my classes are full. And honestly, I had this message from a yoga teacher who's actually just starting out in her journey as a yoga teacher, and she just can't believe it, but she started teaching and she's got a really busy class. It's full. She can't get any more people in the room. And the message goes along the lines of something like, I know this is luck. I know it won't last. I know it's not me. I'm just teaching in a, popular time, popular venue. It also went on to say, but I'm really surprised I'm so busy because there's so much yoga in my area. And all of it just lit me up. First of all, what really lit me up is this teacher having this full class from the get-go, because I know I've been guilty of this, like going back a few years training yoga teachers. I know I totally have been guilty of telling people, well, when you first start out, it can take time to build your classes. It can take time to get established. All of that might be true. But if we believe this is the way it is, then honestly, I'm going to say there's a lot in the next 2 episodes. What we appreciates. We believe it's going to be hard. We believe because we're starting out as a newly qualified teacher that our classes are going to be quiet, or I'm starting something new, our classes are going to be quiet. That's what you will create. Okay. Whereas if we open the door to possibility that I can have a full class, a busy class, a profitable class from the get-go, then that becomes a possibility. And it's not just this lady who contacts me about her classes who's proved this to be possible. Those in my mentorship program, one of the things that really makes me so happy about my mentorship program is teachers starting new classes and those classes being profitable from the get-go, which just, first of all, they prove it's possible, but also it's just, isn't that what we want? Like, as a yoga teacher, we want to go out and teach yoga. We love yoga. We love helping people for yoga, but it would be completely unsustainable, out of balance, even if like yoga's not our main income, teaching yoga's not our main income. But if we're going out and we're not making money or we're losing money, completely unsustainable. That class is not going to carry on long term. You're not going to enjoy it long term. And everyone who would be blessed to do yoga with you is going to miss out. Nobody wins in that situation. So I just love the idea that help my classes are full. So if you do find yourself in this situation, if you have got full classes or a workshop that sells out, or a yoga teacher training course that is full, or a retreat that is full, what may happen, particularly if this is the first time this happens, is our brain will want to protect yourself. So one of the things, the first thing actually that we do in my mentorship program is I work with you understanding your beautiful brain, how it is just completely hardwired, set up to keep you safe. And if something's going really well for us and we've got a full class and you're like, oh, how did that happen? Like, I just put one post on social media, a flyer up in the local village hall, and 15 people are booked in on Monday night. We will go along the lines of, this is luck. This is a one-off. Why would our brain do that? Well, it takes the pressure off having to sustain this, or it stops it being about us. And we think, well, it's just luck. These people are just here because they wanted to come to yoga. It's got nothing to do with me. It's chance. So then if it doesn't happen again, you haven't got that, you've protected yourself from that sense of failing, like the ego stepped in. Okay. And I have a mixed relationship when it comes to the ego, and like the ego gets a really, really hard time. Like the ego is the devil, and the ego absolutely gets in the way of so many things. The ego is also a driver. The ego is also a driver in terms of us taking action and working towards our goals. The challenge is the ego does not want us to fail at our goals. So it might stop us from taking action so we can't fail. Or if we're being successful, the ego might be like, well, this is just luck. This has got nothing to do with you. This is unsustainable. This won't happen again. Or worse still, you don't feel you believe this, you don't feel like you deserve this success. You're like, I'm an imposter here. People are going to find out I'm a bad yoga teacher, or they're going to come to class and not like me. This is unsustainable. I don't deserve this success. I've just qualified, for example. So you may self-sabotage that. You might be like, well, maybe I should change this, and maybe I should change that, and maybe I should move venue, maybe I should change class times, and maybe I'm feeling a little bit tired, so I don't bother teaching this week, and the next week I'm like, oh, got a bit of a cold, cancel classes again. Inconsistency in showing up. And I'm like, if you're ill, you're ill. I don't expect you to work if you're ill, but being flaky, inconsistency in showing up when you've got a regular class will be one of the key factors that causes a death of a class, and a death of a full class or a quiet class. So we might involve ourselves in self-sabotaging activities to protect ourselves from failing. Well, that class, it was full, but I had a period where I wasn't very well. Life was very, very busy, and I had to cancel a few classes, and the class stopped working. That is self-sabotage. That's an example of self-sabotage. So you have to be aware of this, pay attention to this. Know that if you've got a full class, the first thing I want you to do is just be so grateful that the universe has hooked you up with all these people that want to do yoga with you. All right, the time might be a great time. The venue might be convenient for these people, but that's just a small part of it. They will also love doing yoga with you. And if they rebook, if they turn up, it's not it's not luck, it's you, and you need to celebrate that. And in fact, you need to think, wow, this is a sign. This is a sign that I am stepping into what it is I want to do, what it is, if you want to go a bit woo-woo, that the universe wants me to do. And the universe is literally hooking me up with these people. There will be other things, like maybe you've taken the effort to get what I call the eyes on the prize. People know about your class. You've got a website and I can find you if I'm interested in doing yoga in the area where your class is. You have put a flyer up locally. You have been out and about and chatting to people about your starting your classes. You have put a social media presence where people can find out about your classes. You've made some effort to let people know where your class is. Maybe you've also made it like really clear who the class is for. So people are like, oh yeah, chair yoga for people who are looking for a gentle class. That's me. I want to come to this class, rather than, and I'll talk about this more in next week's podcast, help my classes are empty, that yoga for everyone, because the bottom line is yoga is for everyone, but your class is not going to be for everyone. So you've nailed your messaging onto who this class is for. So people are really clear as to how to come to this class, where this class is, how to book on, and why this class is right for them. And you need to celebrate all of this stuff. This is not luck. This is your efforts. This is your hard work. You deserve this class to be full, okay? You've invested time, energy, and money in training to be a yoga teacher. And one of the reasons why you did that is so you can teach these people. None of this is luck. None of this is luck. It is a combination, as I talk about this in my mentorship program, of co-creation. It is a combination of the actions you have taken, the actions that were led by your desires, what it is you came here to do, and the universe going, hey, yeah, you're listening. Let me give you a helping hand. Let me hook you up with this full class. This is what you were meant to do. The other thing I loved about this message with the teacher that had the full class was it completely blew out of the water that scarcity mindset that can really permeate some feeds, some conversations, particularly in like some Facebook groups with yoga teachers, that go along the lines of saturated market, too many yoga teachers. Look, there's just no such thing. I'm really sorry to do this, that there is room for us all. Nature is not that cruel that it would create a situation where everyone in the world wants to be a yoga teacher. No, there is so much demand for yoga that anybody who has that desire, who feels that one of the purposes that they came here to do is to teach yoga, that there is room for us all. This is this abundance, or sometimes abundance when you're feeling like, oh, there's loads of yoga in my area, there's loads of yoga teachers, there's so much yoga online, there's so much free yoga on YouTube, there's no room for me. Sometimes it can be really hard to go to the other end of the spectrum and be abundant mindset. There's room for us all. My tribe is out there. There's as many people as I need who want to be blessed to do yoga with me. The other mid-ground is sufficiency. That absolutely is all that I need out there. There is a sufficient number of people to do yoga with me. One of the things I love to do, absolutely love to do, when I get this from someone I'm working with, well, there's loads of yoga in my area. I did this with a lady who I trained as a yoga teacher. She's like thinking about starting classes in her area, and she's just like, oh, there's so many yoga teachers in my area. And I was like, okay, where do you live? I googled the population. 9,000 people. 9,000 people lived in the area where this lady lived. I'm like, how many people do you want to come to your weekly yoga class? How many? 10? 15 out of 9,000 people? How many yoga teachers are there in your area? Like, all right, not all 9,000 people want to do yoga, but actually when you step back and think about population and how many yoga teachers there really are, you're like, oh, there is room for me. If I'm just looking to get 15 people into my class, then this is possible. And that's the little switch. This is possible. When it's like, you imagine it to be hard, you imagine it not to be possible, that is resistance, that is friction, that is appreciating what appreciates, things being hard, things being not possible. When we flick the switch, when we look at the facts, the data, yoga industry currently worth $37 billion, and is projected to grow by 2027 to $67 billion. When we look at the facts and the figures, you're like, this is a growth industry. This is a growth industry that I'm part of. Woohoo, you know, and I want to fill one class. So of course it's not luck that my class is full. Of course it's not luck. It's because there's a demand for yoga, and it's because I want to do this. I want to share the light that is yoga. So little talk on scarcity and abundance. And if you do find yourself, and I will talk again more about this next week on Help My Classes Are Empty, but if you do find yourself spiraling into what is a negative vibration, negative thoughts of there's too many yoga teachers, there's not enough people to come to my classes, I really want you to pay attention to that and begin to reframe it and challenge it. Okay, our thoughts inspire our beliefs, our thoughts inspire our beliefs inspire our actions. We believe there are too many yoga teachers in the world, my class ain't going to be full, so what's the point in taking action? Turn it around. I believe there's enough people to fill one class, so I take that action that I talked about. I speak to people, marketing, I speak to people and invite them to my class. Selling, I make it easy for them to book, there's no friction, and my class is full. 15 people turn up week in, week out. Then they also are your ideal clients. You've attracted those people that love doing yoga with you. Also understanding that within that group of people, like there may be some, we call this churn, there may be a few people that actually it's not quite for them, or for whatever reason they don't rebook in on the next block or next week. But over time you get this core group of people that are just your raving fans, your super fans, and they come in, week out, and they're your ideal clients, they're your dream clients. And you must, in everything you do, you're not thinking about the people who can't afford to do yoga with you, don't want to do yoga with you, won't like doing yoga with you. They're not your tribe, darling. They're not your tribe. You're thinking all the time about this dream person who would be totally blessed to do yoga with you. So the lady that got in contact with me, like, help my classes are full, she had this lovely problem. Aside from, you know, thinking this was just luck, that's a mindset issue. Aside from being blown away that despite there being loads of yoga teachers and classes in her area, that she was full, that was a scarcity issue. The problem she had was like, help my classes are full, and the way she was operating was just drop-ins, and she was running the risk of too many people turning up one week and having to turn people away. And I want you to know that pre-COVID, pre my awakening to systems, booking systems, online payments, I kind of, it's going to make you feel better, I kind of operated in a kind of like, yeah, come along. I wasn't really tracking my numbers, and I had this, to be fair, it did actually work out. I had this kind of, most of the time, I had this kind of like, the universe is going to sort it out. I'm never going to be too quiet. I'm never going to be too full. And actually, to be fair, it was true. It was true. I had good class numbers, despite I had a block, right? It was, I can't remember exactly. I think it was £40 for a 5-week block. I used to say to be used in 7 weeks, but that was imaginary. I never applied this. So it was basically some form of a loose drop in. And I was very much, yeah, just come along. I'm rolling my mat out, come along. And I would be like, the universe will sort it out. I will never have an empty class. I will never have a class that's too full. And I will say 99.9% of the time that was totally true. But I did have this reoccurring dream, right? The only anxiety dream I have ever had about being a yoga teacher was I was starting a class and people would just be piling in through the door. Like, more people were coming. And I got to a point where I was having to turn people away and people were getting angry. Obviously, I knew I knew deep down, my higher self, the universe, whatever, was trying to tell me something, was like, Amy, you are opening up yourself to this problem. And it was worrying me. And there was one, I remember the one time there was one mum and baby yoga class. So this is when I owned a studio space, and I had two rooms actually, one big studio, one small studio. And I was teaching mum and baby in this smaller studio, and at an absolute squeeze everyone in max, it could fit 16 people. And I had 15 people at this class, but I knew 3 more women were 100% coming. They were running late. And I was like, oh my God. Now, what saved me, so the universe did step in. What saved me was the teacher that was teaching in the bigger studio was ill that week. So actually I was like, ladies, we're going to move. And we all moved into this bigger room. And I think in the end, I had 20 women at Mum and Baby Yoga. And we enjoyed being together as a class. It was a lot of mums and babies in one space for one class. And I know I felt like a bit like there's too many people here. And that move was stressful and I was feeling stressed. And I don't know if it prompted me to take action and put in a booking system. I think I needed COVID for that to happen. But if you haven't got some control over your numbers, you are opening yourself up to, and today's podcast is all about help my classes are full, you are opening yourself up to a possibility of too many people turning up and not getting in the room. And that, you just do not want that. You do not want that. Can you imagine how someone would feel if they've come to a yoga class and they can't get in? Worse still, if they've paid and they can't get in and you're like, oh, I'm sorry, can't fit you in, I'll do a refund. That is self-sabotage, darling, because people will have negative feelings, negative energies about your class, and your class numbers will eventually begin to drop off. So 100% you need a booking system. As part of that booking system, that allows you to create a wait list. So if your class is full, you begin to collect contact details, emails of people who would be interested in doing a class with you. Now, the reason why you would want a wait list, 2 reasons. 1, it creates a sense of demand. 2, if one of those students just decide it's no longer for them, you can invite people in. So you have that wait list of people who are queuing up to come to your classes. And also when there's a wait list for someone, you're like, oh, they're full and there's a wait list. Yeah, I want to be on that. I mean, I don't really know who this teacher is, but I want to be on that. It does create that sense of, intrigue, demand, ethical urgency. There is a wait list. You're not lying about this wait list. The other power of a wait list, because what people may be tempted to do, you've got a full class, right? So you may go, oh, okay, this class is full. Let's say you're teaching Vinyasa Yoga 6 to 7:15, right? I'm going to do another Vinyasa Yoga class at 7:30. And you feel that that would be a good way to accommodate more people. Okay, what may happen is you end up teaching for 3 hours that night and you're spreading yourself across two classes, a number of people that would all couldn't fit into one. The wait list tells you how many people are wanting to do yoga with you and gives you a sign that, well, I've got 10 people on this wait list now. That's enough people to justify starting a second class, and starting a second class in the same style. I was talking to someone in my mentoring program about, you've got 3 classes, they are all the same style, right? What happens if but they're not all full, they're all partially full, right? What happens if you drop that down to 2 classes and fill those 2 classes? It's a better use of your time. It's a more profitable use of your time. And of course that spirals us into, but not everyone can make these class times. Look, you can't find a class time that suits everyone. I've done a podcast on this. Go back and listen to it. The best class time is the one that will work for you. So the waitlist helps us to have a sense of how many more people would like to do yoga with us. It helps us to bring people into our community in terms of collecting their emails so we can talk to them about our offers, our classes, and helps you to fill spaces when they come up, as well as creating a sense of demand around your classes. Put your prices up. It's just as simple as that. If you're full waiting list, people are chomping at the bit to get your classes, honestly, put your prices up. It's a sign that you need to do this. It's a sign that people are willing to pay, that what you're offering is so valuable. I've put celebrate, be grateful. Gratitude is so powerful. And then I put finally this word expansion. It's quite interesting, this. Like, we always think about, I'm going to do a podcast on this at some point, like the more mentality. I must get more people on my mailing list. I must get more followers on Instagram. I just need more people in my community, right? And that stops you potentially from thinking, look at all these people. Look at these 15 people that come to my class every week, my raving loyal fans. Look at the 40 people who are on my mailing list, where most of them open my email that I send them and click through to what I'm offering. Like, I've got a highly engaged mailing list of 40 people and a loyal following of people that come to class. I'm going to just say to you, if you find yourself in this position, help my classes are full, I'm like, well, what else? What else could you offer them? What else might you be able to offer them? Is there a second class that they might like to come to? Or more so, is there a workshop, a monthly workshop that you can begin to introduce? Would they all like to go on a retreat together? And you're not having to find more people to bring into your offers, into your community. You are selling, but creating offers, having this lovely yoga party with those people that love doing yoga with you, and presenting more opportunities for them to come and experience the practice of yoga with you. So there we have it. Help my classes are full. I would love it if this was everyone's problem. I would love this so much. And if you're like, well, this is never going to be my problem, please challenge that mindset. Imagine it to be your problem. Imagine this is your problem, and what would you do in this set of circumstances? What we appreciate. This is the power of manifestation. And it's never luck, darling. It's never luck. It's because people love doing yoga with you. And what can you do to continue to serve that current community and invite other people into your offers? Because clearly this is what the universe would like you to do. Okay, my lovely, thank you so much for listening to episode, I think it's 22. I've forgotten, I lose track. Please feel free to head over to amyyoga.com if you're like, Amy, I need you in my life. I would love to work with you. You can join my 6-month Prosperous Yogini mentorship program, where like I can take your full classes, keep them full, and help you expand your offers to create this thriving, profitable yoga business that everyone loves. Or perhaps you'd like to train with me. I have specialist trainings, online specialist trainings in pregnancy, postnatal, toddler, and yin yoga. Perhaps your classes are full and you'd like to expand your teaching schedule into a contrasting class. Excellent idea, by the way. Excellent idea. These online courses you can start to get today. We work one-to-one in those as well, so there's a little bit of business mentoring as well. But if you're particularly interested in creating this yoga business that lights you up, that is profitable, impactful, sustainable, and my mentorship program, and the doors are now open, is where you need to go. Either way, I'd love to work with you. Please keep listening to the podcast. And I'm like, yeah, I'm on a mission. My messaging at the moment on social media is like, one way or another, I am going to create an industry of thriving, prosperous, happy yoga teachers where everyone is benefiting from doing yoga with them. All right, my lovelies, I'll see you all next week.